The rise of fascism. Fascism was a radical dictatorial system of creating nationalism. The fascists tried to create autocratic states through mobilization of communities. Fascism spread quickly in Europe in the 1920s and the 1930s. Fascists replaced all parliamentary regimes with their new systems in countries where their movements succeeded. The major fascist leaders included Benito Mussolini in Italy, Hitler, who led National Socialism in Germany, and Franco, who ascended to power after Spain's Civil War. Such movements were also present in other European countries, including the Netherlands, France, and Great Britain, where the revolution was mild. This paper will discuss in detail the rights in France, Stalinism, and the Nazi regime. The right-wing movements in France were greatly concerned in what happened in Italy led by Mussolini. The French revolutions included the Action in France and the Popular Front that was a thrilling moment in the history of France. Mussolini was prominently featured in many French magazines. This served as a catalyst to the revolutions in France. Drew La Rochelle was among the people who found the right-wing movement. He was determined to end social strife in France through restructured industries. He called his new structure medieval Christianity. Another movement at that time was Action Françoise led by Charles Maurras. Their expansionist ideology encouraged France to capture natural frontiers, including the Rhine River. Catholics and right-wing extremists had comparable ideologies of revolutions, but Catholics could not join the movements because they feared excommunication. The popularity of the movement had spread so fast that it scared the Pope, having forced him to rebuke it in 1926. The Crossfire was another very violent movement that recruited former war veterans. These movements kept growing in numbers, and their financiers came from production industries. Adolf Hitler shared many similarities with Benito Mussolini in his rise to power. He believed in modern technology, inspiring many Germans, for example, to buy radios. He was the most atrocious leader who converted assembly lines into fields of mass murder. Polish Jews were transported in huge trail loads to assembly lines at Auschwitz, where they were killed. The aftermath of World War I saw the rise of Nazism, racism, and racial purification. The socialists in both Germany and Austria held demonstrations that formed the foundation of revolutionary movements. Hitler led the National Socialism movement that resulted in one of the most horrible of all the fascist revolutions. The Nazi Party was an offshoot of the German Workers' Party that hated the Jews and called for their execution. Hitler was against Marxism as well, and he greatly disliked the Jews. The hatred was so deep that they even called for racial hygiene. They considered Jews as capitalists who advanced American and British ideologies. Youths were recruited into voluntary groups during the rise of the movement. Resistance was countered with brutality. Stalin led the Russian Revolution and created an ideology called Stalinism. Non-Russian ethnic groups were killed along with the people believed to have committed economic crimes. Stalin executed and deported those people he felt to be a threat to his rule. This movement led to a revolution that resulted in a regime of dictatorship under the Communist Party. The party agitated for a radiant future while opposing to capitalism. Harsh famine conditions, the Civil War, and economic hardships contributed to the rise of the movement. Stalin's relationship with people went beyond ideologies, and he used a lot of deception to recruit members to join the movement.